Here, third gear corner, up they like a chicane, which bends completely down, so very difficult under the braking. Easy to outbrake yourself. Then we will go to the right-hander, which is full throttle, up to a very interesting corner, which has a big bump under the braking zone. That's here. Oh, you can see I'm locking a little bit. Third gear, I go to fourth, I short shift, early entry, inside, all the way to the exit. Quite dusty this circuit, it's all because it's quite dry here. Braking point is where the board is starting, second gear. You make one corner of this one up to a straight, which is not a straight because it bends left, right, left, where we short braking all the way to the chicane, which is down to second gear. Hard braking, up, back to second gear, up. Dusty is a little bit too slow here. Come on, Dusty, get out of the way, and we'll go to the straight. The last corner, entry of the pit lane here on the left, down to second gear. You can brake quite late here, a lot of space, but of course important for a fast exit, because there we get straight. This was a lap with Sonoma with the Global Motorsport BMW Tom Coronel. Here, a lot of space, but of course important for a fast exit, because there we get straight. This was a lap with Sonoma with the Global Motorsport BMW Tom Coronel.
Yokohama, your tire.
Last year's second race. Shimmering in the sun on the grid in Northern California, Sonoma region of the wine country. This is Gabriele Tarquini, the oldest man in the business, at least in the World Touring Car business. 51 years old, still racing and challenging to win, and with his Honda teammate Thiago Monteiro going to take the Hondas to a Constructors' Championship title here today in their first ever season. Tarquini starts on the outside of row 4. Inside row 4, the reigning world champion Rob Huff. Won last year with the factory Chevrolet team. Chevrolet quit the business as a factory outfit at the end of last season. And so the man from Cambridge in England is now with the All-Inkle Seat team. Coming in new, the All-Inkle team decided they really needed some experience, and who better than the world champion. On row 3 of the grid, two young drivers from a British team, Bamboo Engineering, third year in the championship for the team, second year for James Nash. Last year with Tom Chilton raced a Ford for the Aon Ford team. This year coming to the Chevy Cruze, and the Cruze the same car as being run by RML for Ivan Muller and for Tom Chilton, the front row starters. And Bamboo Engineering, well, these guys were down watching the Giants lock out the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Waterfront Stadium in San Francisco a couple of nights ago. Not sure quite how much they still know about the rules of baseball. It was nearly the perfect game, one pitch away from a perfect game for their starting pitcher. So Alex McDowell joins his teammate on row 3. Row 2 of the grid, outside second row start for Pepe Oriola, the young Spaniard. Came into this championship as a teenage sensation, and last year and the beginning of this season raced in a Seat Spanish-built car. But this is the third race weekend now that he too has been in a Chevrolet. The blue colours of the Family 20 racing team, run by his dad. And then the top factory Honda qualifier, the Castrol Honda of ex-Grand Prix driver Thiago Monteiro, the man from Porto in Portugal. We raced on his home streets earlier this summer. Thiago again for the second visit to Porto, having a horrible home race. Nothing but bad luck tailing him round, as if he'd interrupted somebody's good festivities. But he starts outside second row. Inside second row, beg your pardon. So the front row starters then, Ivan Muller. Now the maths is going to be interesting for Muller here, although he won't worry about it till afterwards. If he scores 29 points more than Michel Nukia, his closest rival in the championship, and 16 more than Gabriele Tarquini, who currently lies third, he will leave California as the World Touring Car Champion. Now, never before in World Touring Car Championship history has the title been decided before the final race weekend at Macau off the coast of China, but it will happen this year. Such has been Muller's consistency. He's been a consistent qualifier as well. Only his young teammate Tom Chilton got in front of him here, breaking a run of 5 straight poles for Yvan Muller and 6 this season. It's Chilton's first career World Touring Car Championship pole. Raced last year for Ford, this year in an RML Chevrolet. And his dad is here to watch, and with a great opportunity to win this first race here in Sonoma.
Yokohama. The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL.
Bruno Carrera, our safety car driver, leads the field round on the final formation lap. Yvan Muller, the world champion, starts second, or the former world champion starts second. Mustn't crown him just yet. He needs 29 points ahead of Michel Nukia, who starts on the penultimate row of the grid, 16 more than Gabriele Tarquini, who lies third in the championship, to guarantee himself the championship here in the USA. On board with Tom Coronel, our guide around this track. Michel Nukia is also going to lose ground to James Nash, Alex McDowell, perhaps maybe Banani in the race for the Yokohama Trophy. Starting way back behind all of his rivals. A major blow for Dane Michel Nukia. Let's hear now from Tom Coronel.
Interesting circuit here in the US. A lot of elevation, up, down. So you'll see a lot of outbraking and some blind corners. It's also very dry out here in California. So off circuit you can see the grass is brown, but that means also when you go a little bit offline, it's very, very dirty. Duncan Huisman, congratulations with your championship. That's for sure, but we are driving here for the first race, which is a rolling start. I think quite good for my BMW, because at the end of the race we have better balance of the tires. We arrive here at the high-speed chicane, which is in 4th gear. Then we will arrive at the low-speed chicane, which is in 2nd gear. But there you can also cut the circuit. Probably if you outbrake yourself, you can go straight there. You will see we will start to line up now, all the cars side by side, for the rolling start here in Sonoma. Keep watching, because it will be very exciting. One tip, check the first corner, because normally it's a big mess here. Bye-bye.
Well, those of you who are following Tom Coronel on Twitter, @TomCoronel, will see lots of different videos he does. He also produces a TV program at every race, as well as driving. Here we go then, we are on board with the 3-time world champion Yvan Muller. Looking back from our poleman, that's Thiago Montero's Castrol Honda. Front row being paced, everybody should be in 2x2 formation, following through the grid positions as we get ready for nice straight lines. And away they go into the first corner. Thiago Montero tries to get between the two Chevrolets. Yvan Muller around the outside, but he loses ground to Tom Chilton, and through goes Montero. Great start from the Honda, and Muller on the inside at turn 2. Alex McDowell outside him, Pepe Oriola. Poor start for James Nash from 4th on the grid, 6th on the grid rather, drops down a couple of spots. He's struggling with flu. James Thompson struggling with his Lada after qualifying, but quicker in the morning warm-up. And at the back, the blue car, that was Pepe Oriola drifting out wide. Muller in 3rd, Montero in front in 2nd, but the great start that he wanted for Tom Chilton. He leads this race from his first career pole. Chilton has not won a race so far this season. He's been on the podium 4 times, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. A great opportunity, though, that first career pole to win ahead of Yvan Muller. He's followed him onto the podium a couple of times this season, but has not been able to beat him in a straight fight. He has that chance now. World champion Rob Huff on the outside. The first of those 2 black and red Seats with Gabriele Tarquini's Castrol Honda going through on the inside at turn 7A, the second of that double right-handed element. There is Tarquini, Spider-Man. Racing down the hill, Muller under pressure, the two Bamboo Engineering Chevrolets behind. The red windscreen strip, Alex McDowell from Cumbria. The yellow windscreen strip is James Nash, his teammate. He's got Tarquini battling with Huff behind. They are breaking down into a couple of little groups. Muller not able to stay with Thiago Monteiro in third place. Muller is dropping into the clutches of the other Chevrolets. On board with Rob Huff, out of the final corner. The first of our 13 laps completed very quickly indeed. Climbing the hill, Ivan Muller. 25 points for a win, 18 for second, 15 for third. A 29-point total ahead of his closest rival in the championship this weekend, Muller, to avoid having to take the title fight any further down the road. And still quite possible. At the moment, the man who lies second in the championship has not even made it into the top 20 from 22nd on the grid. There's the Brains Trust at Aon Team Chevrolet, the RML squad. Looking back from Muller, Alex McDowell, James Nash behind. Muller will try and preserve his tyres as much as possible while keeping out of harm's reach. Let's take a look back here. Spinners at the back. That is Mehdi Banani. Whoa, loops it round. The blue BMW just avoiding him. That was Freddie Bart. Banani was in the top 10. He's now dropped down the order. Tarquini with Huff. Former world champion Gabriele Tarquini and reigning world champion Rob Huff having a great battle for sixth position. In front of them, the top two independent cars, the two Yokohama Trophy drivers, Alex McDowell and James Nash. Mehdi Banani, Freddie Bart were third and fourth in the Yokohama Trophy. They have lost those places. Muller feeling the pressure perhaps in a moment from Alex McDowell. Down into the final corner. Heavy braking down here into first gear. Slowest corner on the track. And then building up speed around the pits, across the line and into turn one. Gap from first to second is 0.6 of a second, but the fastest lap of the race just then for Thiago Monteiro, 1:46.9, 0.2 of a second quicker than the 47.1 of Tom Chilton. Ivan Muller 47.1, McDowell and Nash 47.2 and 47.4. So Monteiro in second, the man on the move, and you see it now. That green, white and red Castrol Honda closing up on the red and white Aon Lukoil Chevrolet, our race leader, Tom Chilton. Muller has also crept a little bit away from the Bamboo Engineering twins. Silverstone-based team Bamboo Engineering, just in their fourth year of international racing. 3 in the World Touring Car Championship and a year before that in the British Touring Car Championship. And our lead battle, Tom Chilton, whose brother Max races in Formula One, versus Thiago Monteiro, a former Formula One driver, as in fact is his teammate Gabriele Tarquini, but from a different decade. On board with Tom Coronel, already the BMW has closed in on the Seat of Rob Huff. He's trying to exploit a grip advantage that will only grow. This is lap 3 of 13. Coronel disappointed after qualifying yesterday, missing the top 12 positions. And there's a good battle on for the lead as well at the chicane that these guys are now at. Monteiro had a lunge at our leader, Tom Chilton. So the lead battle very much closer than it was. They were 0.6 of a second apart last lap. They're going to be 0.2, 0.3, not a car length between them. Thiago Monteiro senses a chance to win a race here for the Castrol Honda team. Across the line they go, the gap down to 0.4 this time. Chilton up through one. He's got to keep it neat, not go defensive, ignore Monteiro, keep it neat and tidy and precise. That's going to make life very difficult for the Portuguese to get by. That's exactly what our camera car here, Ivan Muller, has done to stay in front of McDowell and Nash. The YT denomination there showing that they are in the Yokohama Trophy. Third in Yokohama Trophy standing, Stefano D'Aste, who's 11th in his BMW. Boardman and Engstler, 4th and 5th. Leclerc is now up to 17th from 22nd place on the grid. Lead battle is going to be joined by Ivan Muller. 1:47.1 from him, 1:46.9 from Thiago is their best laps, but they're all doing 47.4s at the moment. Muller will creep closer to our lead duo. Tom Chilton leads in the red and white Chevrolet, right behind the green, white and red Castrol Honda. That is Thiago Monteiro, Portuguese driver, really piling the pressure on now. He gets very close indeed into that chicane. That's a very tricky braking area. You come down there at really high speed out of the sweeping S's from corner 7 down to corner 9. And Chilton having to defend hard here. Thiago could send it up the inside, but there would only be one result, and that would be a collision that would spin out Chilton and cause Thiago also to lose a chance of winning, as he'd be handed a drive-through penalty. We saw the Castrol Honda team watching from the pit wall. Their first year in World Touring Car Championship racing, they have not yet been to a track that they know. When they go to Suzuka in Japan, that's where the car made its debut last year. Thiago Monteiro in a one-car entry, raced in Japan, China and Macau. Their development chassis, their test hack, this year's car very much developed from that. So when they go back to Suzuka in Japan in a few weeks' time, for rounds 19 and 20 of the championship, they will, for the first time, have at least some knowledge of what the car requires and what the track requires. There's every chance they will go there as the World Touring Car Constructors Champions. The question is, can they go there with Thiago Monteiro having claimed a win so far this season? He has had one podium. It's been a thin year in terms of luck. Looking back from Rob Huff and Tom Coronel. This is the battle then for 7th place. Ooh, and Tom drifts a little wide. Huff keeping the line neat and tidy, but again, look, you see the BMW gets good drive off the corner. Huff is struggling for traction. There's dust in front. Somebody's gone off wildly. No car on the side of the track. So who was that? That was probably McDowell or Nash. A little further behind the Coronel battle, there is Mark Bassek, 38, with Pepe Oriola and Stefano D'Aste. D'Aste's BMW, instead of the red, white and green of Italy, has the Star-Spangled Banner all over it, and he's racing in a Captain America suit, complete with shield, which I believe he left out in the car. Chilton has settled down in the lead. Thiago Monteiro's attack has been blunted. Look at this, Huff rather, under real pressure with the yellow windscreen strip from Coronel. Coronel could well get by here. Still only lap 6 now. We're working of 13. Coronel's got plenty of time, and Basseng behind, under pressure from the blue Chevrolet, Pepe Oriola, the Spaniard. Coronel really wants to push Huff as hard as he can, knowing that it will work the tyres on the Seat more than those on the BMW. Got to leverage every advantage you can, right behind Huff. Again, Huff slower into the corner, carries less mid-corner speed than the BMW. Hasn't really got the traction to get too far away. Every time they get onto the middle pedal, Huff feels the heat of the BMW right behind him. Coronel will be clean and clinical. He needs to get by without contact. Don't want to damage these cars. Between the races, they are sealed in parc ferme. They're not allowed to be touched except for a 15-minute repair window. That includes refueling the cars, retiring them, and getting the driver in and back out onto the pit road. Daryl Young in for, it looks like, fresh tyres. Daryl Young, Chinese driver, went to school at USC Berkeley and learned to drive here at Sears Point Raceway. Knows this track well, but had very little luck, I'm afraid, in qualifying, and that's continuing in the race. His sister's here, still lives in the region. On board with Huff, with Coronel, little contact with Huff there.
Come on!
Coronel going, come on. You saw Huffy's hand up in the air going, come on, give me a break. And again, dust being kicked up in front as drivers run out of grip. Coronel, push, push, push. Halfway through the race now. Working lap 7 of 13. Clean so far. No yellow flag caution periods. And the gap between the first two cars still only 0.6 of a second. Muller dropping away though. He's free from the attentions of McDowell and Nash. Doesn't need to work too hard to win the race. Young going back out. He's not going to get anything from this race, but if they can make sure that whatever ails the car is fixed for race 2, then again he has a better chance of improving. Huff still in the #1 car, feeling the pressure from Tom Coronel. Where's Coronel going to find a move? Not going to be down the inside here, unless Huff drifts way out wide. This corner goes on forever. It's more than 180 degrees. So over 200-degree corner just goes on and on and on down the hill. And now we've got Seat BMW, Seat BMW. Huff there with Coronel behind in the McGregor car. Then Mark Basseng, the German driver, in the second of the black all-equal Seats. And right behind Basseng still and pushing hard is Stefano D'Astaing. He got by Pepe Oriola's Chevrolet on the last lap. And he's dropped a couple of seconds adrift of these battles. There's Huff with the yellow highlights. It's turn 9, through the chicane, and again, Coronel's car is so close. Coronel went off in the beginning of free practice down at corner 11. First lap out of the pits, got onto the brakes. Brakes worked. Throttle didn't stop working, though, when he took his foot off the gas pedal. Some glitch in the electronics kept the throttle wide open, and he had a nerf into the tyre wall that damaged the front end and cost him 30 minutes of valuable track time. But, as ever with Coronel, racing hard. There's your race leader, Tom Chilton. Thiago Monteiro now 9/10 of a second behind, so his gap has opened up another 50% on that lap. Chilton now, having preserved his tyres, you sense, is having a little burst of speed. Try and put another half second in front of Monteiro, and that takes him out of last lap lunging room. Perhaps will drop the Honda towards the second Aeon Chevrolet, and that is Ivan Muller. And if Muller can move up into second place, he'll very much like to do so. Ivan Muller, 3-time World Touring Car champion, lies in 3rd place in this first of 2 races here at Sonoma Raceway, California. Looking back at Franz Exler from James Thompson's Lada, battle for 13th place. Points go down to 10th spot. You can't take racing drivers out of the battle. Again, Tom Coronel all over Rob Huff, and look on the inside of Coronel rather, Mark Basseng in his all-Incal Seat having a little look. The German driver chatted to him this morning during the autograph session. So desperate to have a good result and a good race. He's got Stefano D'Astaing's white BMW behind, then the blue Chevrolet with the red wheels. That's Pepe Oriola, and behind them, Tom Boardman, qualified last in the field. 4 cars dropped behind him, so he started 20th, not 24th, but Boardman up to 12th place. And Tom, thrilled, he said, to be able to confirm they are now doing the rest of the season. He's missed 3 race weekends in a row, and he said, being out of the car, no testing, he said, I've forgotten how to do everything in this car. Looks like he's remembered now in the heat of the battle. Huff easing away from Coronel. Coronel's little scuffle with Basseng not helping. D'Astaing is there, Captain America. Right behind him, Oriola. Boardman closing in, then 6 seconds back to the battle with Thompson's Lada and Exler's BMW. Coronel working lap 9 of 13, still time to try and catch Rob Huff, but now that Huff has got a break and can concentrate on his own race, will he be able to stay away from the BMW? Will Basseng be able to get his teeth into Coronel? Tom Chilton now leading by over a second, so in 2 laps it's gone from 0.69 to 1.08. 4/10 of a second advantage in 2 laps opened up by Chilton. That little burst of speed may just have done enough to break Thiago Monteiro. Monteiro 3/10 quicker in the second sector though on this lap alone, so he is determined not to let Chilton get out of reach. Chilton was faster by a 10th on the first sector. Let's see how it works in sector 3. Sector 3 starts out of turn 8 and runs all the way to the finish line. The gap has come down. Visually, that's not 1.0 seconds. Honda guys and the Castrol Honda guys checking what's going on with their car. Aon Team Chevrolet will be doing exactly the same. Tom Chilton leads by 0.96. So last lap, 148.3 for Chilton, 148.2 for Montero. It's small increments, but he's not going to catch him in 3 laps at a tenth of a second a lap. Montero may have to be satisfied in the end with second place. For Chilton, starting from pole for the first time in his career, there was always going to be pressure, potentially from his teammate Ivan Muller. But we got eased out at the start by a very quick getaway from Thiago Montero. Battle of the 13th spot on the racetrack. 3 out of the points. James Thompson, Franz Engstler, Michel Nukia. Nukia, the fastest qualifiers, was penalised by tech inspection after qualifying, lost all his time, sent to the back of the grid. The driver's seat was less than an inch too far back, but it was too far back. Specified in the rules, the seat back could be no further back than the maximum deflection from the steering wheel of the road car, and his was 20 centimetres less than an inch. Rules is rules. Thompson, Engstler, Nukia, and behind him, 2 cars that were also sent to the back of the grid for the same reason. The 2 red and white Seats, Hugo Vallant, the young Frenchman, and Fernando Monche, both run by Spaniard Adrian Campos, former Grand Prix driver who runs that 2-car team. Queue of BMWs behind them. Freddie Bart's blue car, Charles Eng, another Chinese driver who went to USC and learned his trade here at Sonoma Raceway. Behind him, Mehdi Benani, the Moroccan driver who spun out early on. Tom Coronel in front of Rob Huff now, so the change has happened. He's moved up to 7th place. Worked really hard on that for lap after lap. And finally, the change has come. Let's take a look here from Huff's camera. Coronel just inside. Whoa, come on, you get a great view of the bulb inside the headlamp lens there. And that was turn 7, 7A. Between the 2 right-handers, Coronel, just a little tag on the back of Huff, enough to push him offline, and through he went. That was always likely to happen. Tom Coronel carrying speed in there over the bump, just a little left of the right of the ideal line. Heard the wheel locking up and squealing the tyres. Huff now with teammate Mark Basseng behind. The attention of Stefano D'Aste in the 26 car, that star-spangled BMW. Stefano does like to enter into the spirit. Last year, his race suit was Uncle Sam, red and white striped pants and the blue tailcoat with top hat. This year, Captain America, complete with shield. Whoa! And Tom Boardman ditch hooking on the inside, got a little too much curb and lots of air in his pursuit of Pepe Oriola's blue Chevrolet. This is the battle for 11th spot. And for Boardman, just so thrilled to be back behind the wheel. And Michel Nukia down into the chicane. Right down into 2nd gear. He's in front of this long queue. He's now got by James Thompson. So Nukia was in 14th, now 13th spot. Thompson with the Union flag of Great Britain on the roof of his Lada. He's been pushed down into 14th, and looking back from Tomo, former British touring car champion, former teammate of Ivan Muller, former teammate of the FIA driving standards advisor John Cleland as well at Vauxhall and British Touring Car Championship terms. Former teammate of Gabriele Tarquini, raced for a host of manufacturers. For Vauxhall in the UK, for Honda in the UK and in Europe, for Seat, now for Lada. Look again at Boardman, chasing hard. Those curbs, pretty big when you drop down into the depression with the wheels. The tyre doesn't, and Nukia as well, getting plenty of air under the car. That was Tomo's view of Nukia coming. Now Tomo needs to look forward. He's got a view of Nukia going. And he's got Hugo Vallant right behind him, the first of the red and white Seats. Vallant, young Frenchman. Plenty of potential, but not a great deal of experience at this level. Thompson with a little larder. Ooh, a little wide. And Vallant on the inside. Double right-hander, so the road goes in Vallant's favour. Oh my goodness me, and that was very close for Fernando Monche. If he's going to do that anymore, he needs to consider having sponsors' logos on the floor of the car. Saw a lot of the underside of that Seat. Right behind, the tail wagging the dog on Franz Engsler's BMW over the curbs as well. There is our second place car, Thiago Monteiro, as they go with 1 to go. Chilton leads after 12 of 13. Monteiro second, 1.6 behind, but 3.4 in front of Muller. The top 3 are sealed, but lots to deal with further back down the order. Thompson trying to hold off Monche. This is now the battle for 15th spot. As Hugo Vallant has got by the Englishman. Chilton, Monteiro, Muller will be your podium. McDowell and Nash 1-2 in the Yokohama Trophy, and that's good news for both because they are well placed in those standings. Michel Nukia led coming in by 9 points from Nash. Nash was 32 in front of McDowell, if memory serves, which it usually doesn't. Tom Chilton, first career World Touring Car Championship pole yesterday. He is half a lap away. I probably shouldn't say the words. Thiago Monteiro in second is still pushing hard. Great first sector from him as well, quicker than Ivan Muller, keeping himself clear of the Frenchman in third place. Muller confirmed last week as the second driver in the new Citroën team. Citroën changing from the World Rally Championship to the World Touring Car Championship next year, and bringing with them their 9-time champion, Sébastien Loeb, a man whose presence in the championship can singularly be laid at Ivan Muller's doorstep. But enough of that, because it's time to celebrate. Tom Chilton, yesterday career first pole, today career first win in the FIA World Touring Car Championship, and fittingly a Chevrolet wins in the USA. Tom Chilton victorious. Thiago Monteiro made that second place happen at the start, and Ivan Muller in third place. That's 12 of the 29 points he needs, ahead of Michel Nukia and Thiago and Gabriele Tarquini to try and guarantee his World Championship title here. And still further back there is racing to be dealt with. Down to Gilligan's Island for the final time. James Thompson keeps the larder in front of Monche's Seat. Little shuffling behind. Freddie Bart crept up the order, I think. Yes, got in front of Franz Engsler, his BMW rival. Oh, and does he get Monche at the line? Great drive off the corner. Timing screen has not caught up yet. Has still not caught up yet. Monche by 12 thousandths of a second. That's probably the difference between the front of the bumper and the front of the grille on that BMW. Wow, Tom Chilton, what a happy bunny. I know that his girlfriend Elle, who has their young baby back at home, will be watching. I know Mum will be watching. Pretty sure that Max will be watching somewhere in a hotel room in Monza as well. And his dad, Graham, here trackside, chose to come to California rather than the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. And as a result, he is here to witness his son from his first career pole, taking his first career victory.
Yokohama, your tire.
Helmet comes off our race winner, looking hot and bothered as you would do. Temperatures inside the car here in Sonoma, around 50 degrees. And Tom Chilton, our race winner, in victory circle. Ivan Muller steps another position closer to being world champion for 2013. Michel Nukia has not added to his score. There's Father Graham Chilton there in the shades. Chile congratulating his son on a momentous day. First career pole yesterday, first career win today. And in victory circle. Now let's see how much he's learned from the Sprint Cup guys about victory circle procedures. Well, Ben Constantinos will get down there to have a quick word with him. His engineer there offering his congratulations. About time, say the boys.
Fantastic result for Tom Chilton, who wins his very first World Touring Car race. The first time you've been on the top step of the podium until 2011, Tom. Just describe your emotion here in Sonoma.
Fantastic. Yes, my first World Touring Car win, and it's great that I achieved it after being the fastest man here yesterday in qualifying. It wasn't easy. First place, I always feel at the circuit it's on the wrong side of the circuit, so to stay ahead of Ivan and actually Tiago, I was really happy. The Honda was very strong. I didn't have any time in the car to relax. Every lap was a qualifying lap, but adjusting the way I was driving each lap for the tyre life, and I just got everything perfect, and I'm just so happy that I'm here in California at a circuit which is awesome. It's a bit like a couple of circuits in Britain, and after racing the British Touring Cars for 10 years, it's nice to come here to World Touring Car round with a circuit similar, and hopefully I can carry this on for the rest of the year.
The start looked good, especially against Ivan, but the first couple of laps were very close to Tiago, and then it sort of settled down. Why was that?
Yeah, I think maybe the Honda had a little bit more of an aggressive setup, maybe, and it was a little bit faster than me at the beginning. I just was not making any mistakes, and luckily at the end of the race, I think the chassis came into its own. All of its development over the years came into its own. Me and my engineer did a couple of tweaks here this weekend, and it's worked, and I'm really happy.
Congratulations, great victory for Tom Chilton. We also have the Yokohama Trophy winner and 4th position in the race overall, Alex McDowell. It's been a while since you've been on the top step of the Yokohama Trophy. You must be very happy.
Yeah, it's brilliant to get that result. I thought, being on the outside for the first corner with James, being on the inside for turn 2, we were going to struggle, but they kind of braked early. I nipped around the outside, kind of like an Alonso move, and pulled it off. So yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. I was almost touching Ivan's rear bumper, but he has that car so loose. Towards the end of the race, he's gone. So we need to look at our setup for race 2, and hopefully we can be stronger again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Long time indeed since he's been on the top step of the Yokohama podium. April 28th. Where are we now? It's September. Tom Chilton, our race winner from Thiago Monteiro. Ivan Muller takes another step closer to his 4th World Touring Car title. Alex McDowell, James Nash 1-2 in the Yokohama Trophy. Tarquini 6th in the Honda, little on his own, wasn't he, after Coronel's challenge faded. Rob Huff in 8th place ahead of teammate Mark Bassang. Stefano D'Aste rounding out 10th, and 3rd in the Yokohama Trophy ahead of Boardman and Nukia and Valente, who had a very entertaining battle. And Pepe Oriola dropping down early at the start, which cost him dearly. Lots of BMWs further back down in the low teens, or high teens and 20s. Didn't make the moves forward that I thought we might see. But then race 2 still to come here in Sonoma. That will see some of the BMWs perhaps a little further up the grid. A major moment, though, in the career of Tom Chilton. Last win in 2011 in the British Touring Car Champion in a Team Ford, and now his first World Touring Car win. Ivan Muller 151 points ahead of Michel Nukia, who remains still just ahead of Gabriele Tarquini in the overall standings, but with Nukia starting again, 22nd on the grid for race 2, then he is going to drop down the order unless those immediately behind him have major dramas. Well, it looks like for the first time in history, we are going to see our world champion driver confirmed before we get to Macau. The question is, will he be confirmed before we leave San Francisco Bay Area? We'll have to do the maths between race 1 and race 2. So victory circle then, our race winner, Tom Chilton. 2nd is Thiago Monteiro, and 3rd, Ivan Muller. Joining them in the blue and white overalls, the tall figure, is Alex McDowell. Graham Chilton on the extreme right of your shot. And the winning driver's anthem. And for our winning manufacturer, Chevrolet.
Winning manufacturer. Congratulations, gentlemen. Please welcome onto the podium Mr. Steve Page, the President and General Manager of the Sonoma Raceway, presenting the trophy for third place.
So our host here this weekend, General Manager of Sonoma Raceway, Steve Page, presenting the trophies.
Mr. Steve Page will also present the
Some
trophy
very drinkable trophies they are as well here.
Montero.
Second place, Tiago Montero receives his wine.
And presenting the winner's trophy,
Tom
to
Chilton.
Tom Chilton.
I'm sure these are all going to be safely in the baggage going back home. So Al,
Please
it's a glass or two of red on the way home to you.
Vice President of the Sonoma Raceway presents the trophy for the winning manufacturer to Chevrolet and to Graham Chilton.
So Chile, Graham Chilton will be the man who receives the trophy from Sarah Graffels, VP here at Sonoma Raceway.
Yokohama representative of the USA, presenting the Yokohama Trophy to the winner, Alex
Yokohama
McDowell.
Trophy race winner. Alex McDowell receives his trophy from Sean Johnson from Yokohama USA. And big heads up as well, and thanks to the guys from Yokohama USA who have joined the regular Yokohama team, bringing all the tyres here and fitting and working with the crews.
By toasting the race fans with the Champions Cabernet goblets.
Now, of course, we do have random and compulsory drug testing, so a little sip will be fine. However, any more than that will not be highly recommended, which is a shame. Now, of course, that's only for our drivers, but yeah, Tiago said, go on, have a bit more, help us. So I think announcers are allowed a little sip as well between races. I think, yeah, okay, that went to Dad's hands, didn't it? Dad will enjoy that. So confirmation then of our finishing order here, round 17 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship, the first of our two races here at Sonoma Raceway, California. So Tom Chilton claims victory from Tiago Montero and Ivan Muller. There are the rest of the finishing positions. Don't forget that is the first of two races. Second race gets away from a standing start grid, so a Grand Prix style start, and the top 10 in the qualifying order for race 1 will be reversed on the race 2 grid. So barring penalties, it'll be a Moroccan Mehdi Benani who starts on pole position from Italian Gabriele Tarquini. BMW ahead of Honda. We'll have to wait and see how that progresses. But for the moment, for the next hour at least, a chance for Tom Chilton to enjoy his moment, fittingly enough, in the sun. Well, don't forget, wherever you're watching, here in the US on the CBS Sports Network, whether you're watching in the UK, in Europe, in Australia, North or South America, across the Pacific Rim, you can catch up with all the action from race 2 here. Gets underway at a little after 12:40 local. That's 3:40 Eastern, 23:15 Central European time, 21:15 Zulu. Wherever you are, join me please for race 2. Looking forward for more action here at Sonoma Raceway, California. Till then, on behalf of the whole team here,